In the heart of the bustling city lay the sprawling Hillsdale Mall, a towering monument to consumerism. Its gleaming facade hid a multitude of secrets within its labyrinthine corridors. But amidst the throngs of shoppers and echoing footsteps, there lurked tales of terror that whispered through the halls, stories of the macabre that few dared to speak of. These were the disturbing true mall horror stories that chilled the blood and haunted the dreams of those who knew them. It was a night like any other at Hillsdale Mall. Closing time had come and gone, and the weary employees were preparing to lock up for the night. Among them was Sarah, a young cashier who worked the late shift at one of the smaller boutiques. As she counted the day's earnings, she heard a soft tapping sound coming from the front entrance. Curious, she peered through the glass doors to see a figure standing just beyond the threshold. It was a woman dressed in outdated clothing that seemed out of place in the modern world. Sarah called out to her, but the figure made no response, only continuing to tap on the glass with long, slender fingers. Unease crept over Sarah as she approached the entrance. She reached out to unlock the door, but before her fingers could touch the latch, the figure vanished into thin air. Bewildered, Sarah scanned the empty plaza outside, but there was no sign of the mysterious woman. Shaken, she hurried back to her register and finished her closing duties as quickly as possible. But as she made her way towards the exit, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She glanced over her shoulder, half expecting to see the phantom shopper standing behind her, but the aisles were empty save for the silent rows of merchandise. With a shiver, Sarah pushed open the doors and stepped out into the cool night air, vowing to never work another late shift alone again. As the mall clock struck midnight, the halls fell silent and deserted, save for the occasional hum of the overhead lights. It was during these witching hours that the true nature of Hillsdale Mall revealed itself, casting off its facade of glitz and glamour to reveal the darkness that lurked within. For Marcus, the night janitor, these late hours were just another shift in a long line of monotonous nights, but as he made his rounds through the empty corridors, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every shadow seemed to dance at the edge of his vision, and he found himself jumping at the slightest sound. It was when he reached the elevator that things took a turn for the sinister. As he pressed the button to call the lift, the doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing nothing but darkness beyond. Marcus hesitated for a moment, his hand hovering over the button for the next floor. But before he could make a decision, something stirred in the depths of the elevator shaft. A cold breeze washed over him, carrying with it the faint scent of decay. Marcus recoiled in horror as a pair of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness, fixated on him with a hunger that sent a shiver down his spine. With a cry of terror, Marcus stumbled backward and fled down the hallway, the sound of his own footsteps echoing in his ears. Behind him, the elevator doors slid shut with a finality that seemed to seal off the darkness within. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the daytime crowds, it was easy for a child to get lost in the labyrinthine corridors of Hillsdale Mall. Such was the fate of little Emily, a curious girl with a penchant for wandering off when her mother's back was turned. As the minutes stretched into hours, panic began to set in as Emily's mother frantically searched every corner of the mall for her missing daughter. Store employees were enlisted to help in the search, but despite their best efforts, there was no sign of the lost child. It wasn't until nightfall that Emily's mother received a chilling phone call. On the other end of the line was a voice, low and guttural, whispering promises of reunion in exchange for a steep price. Terrified, Emily's mother contacted the authorities, but by the time they arrived, the caller had vanished without a trace. Weeks turned into months, and still, there was no sign of Emily. Her disappearance remained a mystery, a haunting reminder of the dangers that lurked within the seemingly safe confines of Hillsdale Mall. In the heart of the mall lay a forgotten alcove, hidden away from the prying eyes of shoppers and employees alike. It was here that the cursed mirror resided, a relic of a bygone era that held within its depths a darkness beyond comprehension. Legend had it that anyone who gazed upon their reflection in the mirror would be consumed by an insatiable hunger, a desire for wealth and power that could never be satisfied. Over the years, countless souls had fallen victim to its malevolent influence, their ambitions twisted and warped until they became little more than hollow shells of their former selves. Among them was Elijah, a young entrepreneur with dreams of striking it rich. Drawn by whispers of untold riches, he sought out the cursed mirror, convinced that he alone could harness its power for his own gain. But as he stood before the mirror, gazing into its depths, he felt a darkness stirring within him. It whispered promises of wealth and success, but beneath its honeyed words lay a sinister truth that Elijah could not ignore. In a moment of clarity, he turned away from the mirror and fled, vowing to never return to its cursed embrace. But try as he might, he could not escape the lingering influence of the mirror, haunted by visions of wealth and power that danced at the edge of his consciousness. And so, the cursed mirror remained hidden away, a silent sentinel in the heart of Hillsdale Mall, waiting patiently for its next victim to fall prey to its insidious charms. As the years passed, the stories of horror and tragedy that plagued Hillsdale Mall became little more than whispered rumors, dismissed by most as nothing more than urban legend. But for those who knew the truth, the darkness that lurked within its walls remained all too real. It was on a stormy night much like any other that the final warning came, a message from beyond the grave that would shake the very foundations of the mall itself. As the clock struck midnight, a figure appeared in the center of the plaza, shrouded in darkness and surrounded by an aura of malevolence. With a voice like thunder, it spoke of the horrors that lay hidden within the mall, of the souls lost to its insatiable hunger. It warned of a darkness that could not be contained, a darkness that would consume all who dared to set foot within its walls. And then, suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished into the night, leaving behind only an eerie silence that seemed to echo through the empty corridors. For those who witnessed the warning, it served as a chilling reminder of the true nature of Hillsdale Mall, a place where the line between reality and nightmare blurred and the shadows held secrets too terrible to imagine. And so, the mall stood as a silent sentinel in the heart of the city,